In the year 1868, Paris, France, at the time where artists were mostly depicting the life of Christ or other saints or angels as the main subject in their art, there's a small phenomenon happening within the art society that year. Alexandre Cabanel had just completed his newest masterpiece. It depicted the fallen angel lying on the ground, his wings broken and his face contorted in pain. His body is muscular and idealized, but his expression is agonized and anguished. The landscape behind him is dark and barren, and the sky is stormy and ominous. That painting became the most controversial topic. Some critics praised the painting as a masterpiece of academic art, while others object to the painting's dark and emotional content, which they felt was inappropriate for a work of art and for having sympathy for evil. Nonetheless, Fallen Angel has become one of the most famous paintings in the world today and has a long-lasting impact in other forms of art such as literature, music, and film. It's considered the most famous unofficial devil's advocate art, but it's surely not the first. Because back in the 17th century, France, Madame Gabrielle Suzanne de Villeneuve published her full-length novel about a young prince who lost his father and whose mother has to wage war to defend his kingdom. The queen left him in care of an evil fairy who tried to seduce him when he became an adult, and when he refused, she transformed him into a beast. That novel has become what we have known today as The Beauty and the Beast. This phenomenon of depicting the darkling, monstrous, morally grey, and sometimes misunderstood male character as the front and center have been thread to art and literature for centuries onward. This type of character has no specific name like the traditional hero character that we have a solid image in our mind when we identify them. They shapeshift in so many forms, changes so many names, lurking behind alongside the Prince Charming like a shadow. Sometimes he is the symbol of evil that needed to be destroyed, like the classic Bram Stoker's Dracula in the Gothic era that represents death and unknown disease. And sometimes he is the tragic, misunderstood hero, like in Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire. From the wild and obsessive lover in the classic literature, the misunderstood monster in the 90s fantasy shows, to the sexy vampire in the 2000s paranormal romance. Fast forward to today, there's also the same phenomenon happening in the romantasy community. This time, he is the Shadow Daddy. And among all the surge in popularity of this archetype, there was also a small phenomenon happening on the little corner of the internet. On June 21st, 2024, a video named "To All Love and Deepspace Hunters" was uploaded on YouTube. You know where this is going? It's the introduction of the latest Shadow Daddy, Sylus. First of all, let me explain to you in case anyone doesn't know, what the hell is Shadow Daddy? Shadow Daddy is a term used to describe the male lead character in a lot of modern romantasy books that has really specific characteristics. In this article written by Emma Bennett called An Exploration of the Darkly Alluring Archetype said, in fiction, a Shadow Daddy refers to a mysterious, powerful male character who exerts a strong, devoted, protective influence over the female protagonist. The Shadow Daddy archetype embodies a blend of darkness and devotion, power and desire. He exists in the liminal space between fallen and ascent, protector and mystery. And as you can see, Sylus checks all the boxes here. But I would say although his character fits the modern Shadow Daddy trope, He's also the combination of all the other predecessors that came before him. The dynamic and all the motifs between him and MC are heavily referencing the Hades and Persephone Greek mythology. He feeds our human soul by making a deal with them like a demon. He is stronger in the night and weaker in the day, like a vampire. He is a powerful crime lord with a really sexy deep voice, like an ideal dark romance male lead. Sylus' character is the combination of all the hot and evil characters that we both feared and fascinated by for over centuries. Upon his debut, people went crazy over him. He became one of the most popular love interests in the fandom, and even to people outside the fandom as well. But why though? He seems like a bad guy. He looks like a villain, a hot one. He was introduced as a ritual criminal. Why is a character that screams a walking red flag? It's so well loved in an ultimate game. A kind of game where you are supposed to find a perfect man to romance with. Not the kind of man who may ruin your life. Yeah, I know, he's hot. But is it really just because he's hot? And why are we so drawn to this archetype so much? Let's find out. In the first arc of the main story, Under Deepspace, we follow MC, navigating her adult life in the Lincoln City as a new hunter, and was introduced to 4 hot men during her missions, when suddenly tragedy struck and took away people who were important to her. MC traveled to the Arctic, searching for the truth, and discovered an incredible power source that rested in her heart, the ether core. Using the information left behind by her grandma, she concluded that what happened to her is related to Onychines, a well-known organization in the 𝑹𝒆𝒄𝒆𝒔 zones. So she decided to enter the 𝑹𝒆𝒄𝒆𝒔 zone to get closer to Onychines in an attempt to find answers. I brought the most valuable bait, the ether core, deep into the abyss that is the 𝑹𝒆𝒄𝒆𝒔 zone. Whoever takes the bait, will this person be the one I'm looking for?
It's been modified. Clearly the work of Onychines. An organization stationed in the N109 zone. Modifying protocors is their most infamous achievement.
We speculate it's not about money, given Sylus' track record.
He's the leader of Onychines.
Sylus hasn't been around for a really long time. Do you think he really went missing?
Maybe he's dead. Did you see how arrogant Sherman's punks have been lately? If Sylus was with Onychines, they wouldn't even dare to be bold.
Yeah, he's a monster with huge wings that never dies. And he has horns. If I don't listen to Auntie, Sylus will find me and feed me to his man-eating birdie.
Several decades ago, somewhere far, far away from Earth, the feathered star, a planet shaped like a black diamond, is about to celebrate its ruler's birthday, the Overlord. A group of deputies had just got back from fighting rare treasures across the galaxy as a gift for him. On the way back to the planet, rumors begin to follow. The most wanted criminal in the Philos history, named Sylus, had just escaped from the space-time prison and has been spotted near Feather Star. As they discuss the inconvenience that they have to go through at several checkpoints before entering the planet, a tall, striking figure emerged from the shadow. Black-red mist emanating from his hand coils around their arms, yanking them towards the spaceship's control panel. Amidst the scream of agony, the ship dips and hurls towards the Overlord's fortress. Sylus captures the Overlord inside his own fortress. Weak and powerless against this new intruder, the Overlord offers him any treasures and armory that he wanted. He even offers Sylus to work with him, but Sylus just smiles. His right eye emits the faint glow. I had to embark on a long journey. What I want is a whole planet. Is that okay? As the Overlord's birthday draws near, Spaceship loads with gifts continue to enter the planet. 100 spaceships. That is what Sylus asked the Overlord to give him. During this time, Sylus tied the Overlord to his throne and played chess with him. He looks over. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows lies an artificial garden. Glowing eyes lurk in the shadows with the occasional glow. The Overlord offers to load these beasts into Sylus' spaceships if he wants, but Sylus declined. A cage is no place for beasts, he said. On his birthday, the High Lords flock to the Overlord's fortress. As they settle down in the banquet hall to begin the celebration, lights suddenly go out. Sylus reveals himself to all the guests. The Overlord's life is a storage worth of treasure from 100 ships. Anyone who brings less might not taste the birthday cake today. All the guests have been held captives by Sylus for several days. They started to turn on each other in hope of Sylus sparing their lives. Suddenly, one of them mentioned the whereabouts of the ether core. A smirk appears on his face. Sylus casts one last look over his shoulder. He sees the table and the cowards still double-crossing one another. He takes out his gun and unleashes a flurry of shots at the floor-to-ceiling windows. He marches into the artificial garden. Under the moonlight, the eyes hiding in the vegetation blink to life one by one. With a snarl, the beasts bare their teeth. Shadows dart into the banquet hall. All those cowards barely have a moment to scream before their blood paints the whole fortress. Sylus vanishes into the night. Several hundred ships leave the port, and all the treasures inside have been returned to their rightful owner later. Somewhere inside the spaceships, Sylus starts his next journey. The holographic map zooms in on the destination. Beneath the eye of ether, he sees it. Switching to autopilot mode, the spaceship glides through the floating dust cloud in the eternal darkness and hastes to the distant horizon. In a place starved of sunlight, only neon lights decorate the darkness. Towering skyscrapers fade into the gloom. Sylus wanders casually, hands in his pockets. The N109 zone is about to greet its new ruler.
We part and meet again and again, heavy hearts with little laid bare. The weight in my chest is hard to name, while your doubts fill the air. In this fleeting moment, freedom's wings are bound, and that moment has long since vanished, never to be found. Like lightning that strikes and is gone in a breath, like fine snow falling to a river, meeting its death. Like light pouring over the tide, only to be swallowed where shadows hide. How can I witness and hold such beauty once more?
Now, I will assume that if you click on this video, you have already read the main story, or at least know how the meeting goes. So I'm just gonna briefly recap the whole thing because I don't want you to fall asleep on me. Things didn't go as planned. MC got kidnapped by a mysterious man and was brought into the N109 zone. But she got rescued and met Sylus, still concluding in her mind that this man killed her family. She lashes out at him. Sylus took her to his base and tried to make her resonate with him for the next 3 days, but it didn't work. Still angry and frustrated, MC starts yelling at him and threatened to kill him. Then we got this legendary scene with a amusement in his eyes. Sylus put the gun in her hand and pulled the trigger into his chest. But not only he survived, his wounds immediately healed. Shocked, MC passes out due to extreme exhaustion. The rest of the story goes on. They made a deal with each other. Sylus has to help MC obtain the other half of the ether core at the auction and escort her out of the N109 zone, and in exchange, MC will resonate with him. Which comes to think of it, this cannot even be called a deal. Like, not only Sylus has to make sure she gets the Ether Core and protect her until she's out, he also has to find a way to make her like him enough to be able to resonate with him.
Mr. Sylus, I think there's another reason why she can't resonate. You see, her evol is special. It utilizes the waves generated by the human brain's magnetic field. Maybe her brain's magnetic field produces repulsive waves against you. That's why she can't resonate with you. To make a long story short, on a subconscious level, she's either rejecting you, scared of you, or, disgusted by you.
All MC has to do is to like him. And knowing Sylus, he knows how unfair this deal was, but of course he agreed anyway. This man has been down bad since day one. I just can't. After all the sexual tension between them and a lot of killing, Sylus keeps his promise. He helps her get to the Ether Core and resonate with it. She finally was able to resonate with him too. But then, she saw the strange vision. It was Sylus' voice telling her something she didn't understand. When the mission completed, Sylus escorted her out of the N109 zone and disappeared back into the shadows. Our racing vehicle leaves our enemies behind, while intermittent light seeps through the window to obscure his silhouette and goals. I never held onto the naive notion that Sylus assisted me in acquiring the Ether Core, just so he could clean house. This kind of deal would result in him suffering a major loss, and it's clear that he's anything but an ignorant businessman. What are his true motives? The main story ends just like that. He vanishes and leaves us feeling confused and aroused. This first introduction of him, although very enticing, only leaves us curious and want to know more about him. What is he? Is he a demon? A vampire? Some kind of dark entity that we are not supposed to know? It was not until months later that he's back and took us on a new journey.
It's about a dragon. In the beginning, the dragon lived in a valley with other dragons. Amongst his kin, he was the only one with a human appearance. He mistakenly believed he was a normal person. But as he grew older, horns sprouted from his head and a tail from his back. He had never seen anything like this on someone before. He was scared. So he picked up a blade because he wanted to remove them. But the horns and scales would grow back, dripping with blood. It didn't matter how many times he cut them. After a long time, he finally came to terms with being a monster with horns. But then, the love of his life appeared.
This was long before humans arrived on this planet. Thousands of years ago, dragons ruled over the lands of Sylus. By nature, dragons are wicked creatures that feed on human souls. They excel at drawing out the darkest parts of a person's heart, driving humans to turn on one another and become slaves to their desires. The greedier the soul, the more irresistible it is to a dragon. Seen as the embodiment of evil, dragons were a harbinger of the world's end. Wherever they appeared, doomsday followed. That was until the last dragon on the planet was sealed in the bottom of the abyss, beneath the fiend-infested Taurus city, by the legions of Justicia over 1600 years ago. The leader who drove his sword into the dragon's heart was reversed as the sacred judicator. Doomsday faded into a forgotten myth, and the age of humanity finally began. Every year, the sanctuary takes in some of the city's orphans in the name of sacred judicator. It is a place held in even higher regard than the royal palace. When these orphans come of age, a judicator's oracle, dressed in magnificent robes, takes them away to join the legions of Justicia. The story begins as MC, an orphan, raised inside the sanctuary of the Ivory City to join the legions of Justicia, got thrown into the abyss because she committed a great crime. Growing up inside the most pure and sacred place, a dragon that is seen as the ultimate symbol of evil is prohibited. However, growing up isolated and lonely, the only friend she ever had was the little dragon lamb that she talks to in secret. The essence of the Ivory City is reflected in its citizens. People dress nicely, exude grace, and possess untainted souls. The Judicator's oracle says, desire is the seed of calamity. Excessive indulgence will allow this disease to grow quietly. So, I had to act like everyone else. I needed to abide by proper etiquette, say the right words, and bind my hands and feet with invisible white threads. All of these things turned me into a puppet without a heart. But they still burn my dragon. To kill my dragon, they framed me for a great crime. They sentenced a puppet to death because it has one desire. At the bottom of the abyss, she met the last dragon. Desperate to survive, she unleashed it in an exchange for the dragon saving her life. The great sword that was pierced in his chest dissolved and transferred into her body. The dragon took MC and flew away. Now, with the power fully awakened, the dragon tried to consume her soul. MC trying her best to negotiate with the dragon and make a deal with him. Revenge, that's her desire. If the dragon can fulfill it for her, she will give her soul to him. As the fiend and the sorceress together, they find a new home in the dragon's lair high up over the terraced city. The dragon leads her from one lead to another. Regardless of how dangerous the target is, as long as she says, I want it, he fulfills her every wish without fail. Under the guise of helping her get her revenge, he nurtures her ambition. He feeds the beast in her heart called desire. As time goes by, they get closer to each other. MC gives the dragon a new name, Sylus. The image of a powerful, imposing dragon that she first met started to change as well when she discovers more about him. Despite being sealed for thousands of years, Sylus is still a young dragon. He only just learned how to hide his wings. He cannot hide his horns and tail. As a dragon, he doesn't understand the song's melody, can't see the beauty in patterns, and can't even taste the flavors of food. Yet, he seems to love the song MC sings and asks her to sing for him frequently. Inside the intimidating, majestic figure was a young boy who never had a chance to learn how to be human. A young boy needed to be killed because he's seen as a monster. Over time, the beast in MC's heart grows bigger. Little by little, she stopped caring about revenge and developed a new desire. Maybe I just wanted to know if a dragon, capable of luring humans into darkness, could truly feel the human emotion called love, a desire that goes beyond mere survival. In his world, apart from survival and killing, could there also be room for organs and hugs? Or maybe the person next to me only appears to be human. One day, during the time while they raid another sanctuary, an unexpected thing happens. It's the dragon's curse. Sylus suddenly loses control of himself and starts to attack MC. She tries to defend herself. The great sword that disappeared into her body suddenly manifests in her hands and pierces through Sylus' chest. She finally realized the truth then. She is his arch nemesis. She is the one who was born to slay the dragon. The injured dragon and MC managed to escape the Judicator's capture and flew away to hide in an old chapel. They make a vow there. Their souls will now be forever bound. The moment she pulled out her sword, he knew she was the one destined to kill him. She was his arch nemesis. But somewhere along the way, he stopped wanting to consume her soul. Maybe it was the first time she climbed to the cave's opening, and the morning light touches her dirty, scraped face. Or maybe it was her unchecked, ever-growing desire that reminded him of his own self. Or perhaps, deep down, she's also a little monster with horns of her own. Since we already know how the myth ends, I'm just gonna leave the ending, plus I'm still traumatized, so I don't want to talk about it. If you haven't read the myth yet, I highly recommend you go read it. It was a beautiful story. Anyway, now that we kind of know who Sylus is, we can put the puzzle pieces together a little bit more. Although the puzzle might not be completed yet, because there are still a lot of questions about him that we need to know more later. One thing that we know for sure, his character has always written to be the opposing to us. The crime lord and the law enforcer, the dragon and the hero, the shadow and the light, the monster and human. Or the push and pull dynamic is the main thing that makes his story so intriguing. I also love that among all the monster creatures, the writers chose to make him a dragon, which in many great literary works, devils and dragons are closely linked. The dragon's character can reflect our complex thoughts on power, temptation, and moral choices. They also use reference about his character to a contemporary novelist, 𝒆𝒏𝒄𝒆𝒔 works. She connects dragons to the idea of fate, using theme of death and rebirth to explore the cycle of life and death. Her work delves deeply into the complexities that dragons symbolize. In her work, Possession, she metaphorically describes the dragon's body as the mental body, a high unity of flesh and wisdom, the fusion of physical charm and intellect, because dragons possess a physical form that combines temptation and wisdom. They also closely associated with reproduction and desire. This is why dragons in literature gradually became linked with the pursuit of natural instincts and sensual pleasure. And it shows clearly on all of his memories compared to the other love interests. His storyline has the most tension. They are full of challenge, temptation, and very sensual. Most of the time when we interact with him in the game, we get pulled into a hidden part of us that some might deem inappropriate. I think it fits him really well. After all, who he is really depends on each individual who defines him. Actually, what they see in him is the part that they refuse to see in themselves. Most of it has to do with him being a dragon too, you know? Sylus sees emotions like greed, desire, lust, vengeful as just that, emotions. It's not much different from a positive emotion in his eyes, and it's probably funny to him that a lot of humans pretend to not have it. Humans have habits of making rules and defining things that look different to the majority as others. We pick and choose what is considered normal and abnormal. We feared power and saw them as evil, and at the same time wanting that power to ourselves. We lose control of our own monster in ourselves, and then blame it on others, and refuse to acknowledge our own shadows. Humans are contradictory. Instead of ignoring it and pointing fingers at people who show it and calling them monster, acknowledging it is what makes us human. After all, it's the human that killed Sylus' family. It's the human that took him in as first and then tried to execute him the moment they saw his horn. It's the human that makes him a monster. It's the human that imprisoned him for thousands of years with a crime that he has never committed. But is also a human that sings the first melody to him. It's a human that teaches him a kiss on the forehead. Humans also make art and craft beautiful gems of rocks and write beautiful stories and poems that he enjoys. Monster and humans, we are just two sides of the same coin, true kindred spirit.
Do you know what I usually see in people's eyes? Greed, envy, lust, and desire. But on New Year's Day, they disappear for a few hours. A world without desire means there's no business to be done. So I have time to look around. It's interesting. I can't believe something as simple as fireworks can make people this happy. Humans are like this. Once they do something one year, they want to keep doing it every year. So greedy. And yet I've become one of them.
A lot of us might also notice that MC's personality really changed depending on each guy that we chose to romance with, right? And with Sylus, she really has to be badass and feisty. Sylus really encouraged and, dare I say, expected her to be as assertive as possible with him. He teaches her boxing. He keeps giving her new weapons. He takes her on a motorcycle race. He leads her to destroy the hypocrite sanctuary one after another. He takes her on his dangerous business deal. He lets her take down the criminals and wanderers in his territory and let her be as messy as she wants. I'll say this, as a person who loves peace and quiet life and has zero fighting skills in my bones, romancing Sylus should have made me feel exhausted. But instead, I feel seen and I feel really empowered. On the surface, it's so easy to write him off as just another hot male character that was made to fulfill a female's fantasy. But when we look closely, a character like Sylus really represents a part of us that we were too afraid to show in real life. I think a lot of us can relate to this, especially as a woman. How many times do you feel like you have to keep your negative emotions in check to keep it together? To keep the sensual part hidden and hide our own desire to yourself for the sake of not looking like a crazy woman. How many times in your life do you ever dream of going after anything and taking everything you wanted to without being called selfish? A love story with Sylus allows us to explore those aspects without being judged. And yes, his story is really unrealistic. It's fully fantasy. You're in love with a sexy criminal who's disgustingly rich and powerful. He takes you on a countless thrilling adventures and allows you to be a badass and dominant woman and kill the bad guys and kisses you under the moonlight. But underneath the adrenaline rush of it all, it's just a love story between two survivors who see the opposite part of each other and decide to help each other grow and evolve through love. MC sees the human that sleeps inside the monster. She sings and plays instruments to him. She shows him how to hug and kiss. She helps him learn the real value of useless, silly trinkets aside from expensive gems, and so on. Also, one thing that I think Sylus didn't get enough credit for is how much he's willing to grow. From a dragon who can't feel any instinct other than surviving and killing, now he learns how to dance, to sing, still okay, and to collect own classical music as a hobby. He appreciates art, develops his own aesthetic, and learns how to cook. Despite already being an undefeatable creature, he picks up boxing. He joins the boxing match competition and doesn't feel embarrassed or afraid of losing. It's inspiring, honestly. After all the awful things that he had gone through, he never stops growing, never let the past define what he can do and cannot do. Same goes with how he loves MC. He sees the monster within her. He encouraged her to act on her desire. He helps her achieve her goals and gain her true power. He took all the degrading words that people threw at her and gave them a new meaning. A love story with Sylus, to us, is about learning to not be small and learn to take up space, to not be afraid of claiming your own place in the world, to feed the beast inside of us unapologetically. It's allowing yourself to grow and evolve into your true self. In conclusion, why do we love monster? More importantly, this monster. There's no correct answer, and to be honest, you don't have to find any cool or deep reason to love him. You can just love him just because he's hot, simple. Or just like me, you are a monster fucker that is destined to fall for every male character that's huge and not human. You may love him because you like dark romance type enemies to lovers storyline and have a thing for bad guys. Or perhaps, deep down, you're also a little monster with horns of your own.
Do you know what you look like right now? You're a young dragon who just grew her horns. Growing dragon horns symbolizes a rebirth. It's a good thing.
Hi, it's Duckling. Nice to meet you again. First of all, thank you for the 100 subs. Yay! And I want to thank you for all the lovely comments on Xavier's video. It really motivates me to make this video and upload it for you guys. This video actually was supposed to be done back in July, but I edited all my videos on my phone and kind of overusing my hand when I made Xavier's video. So after I finished that video, my hands were completely busted. I had to rest and not use my hand for 2 weeks. So yeah, sorry for the delay on this one, guys. Oh, and sad news, I'm probably gonna be busy for the rest of August. So I don't think I can finish the next video essay within this month. But maybe I can make some kind of chill and light-hearted fun videos, like talking about new banner or something. Let me know if you want that. We'll see if I can make that. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I can convince you to main Sylus if you're not already. Please feel free to comment your thoughts about him. What do you think about this video? Or if there are any perspective about him that you want to share with me, go for it. I love reading them a lot. And yeah, I hope to see you next time. Please take care of yourself. Don't get your hands busted.